Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So I have a little meme I saw on Facebook that I wanted to share with you. It's kind of a little bit mean-spirited, but you'll get the point and I want you to hold on to it. If any of you are alone this Christmas, let me know. I need some chairs to borrow. Okay, now hold on to that for a second. So, hope. Father Scott last night talked about hope. He talked about it being the future. Because when we hope, we can only look to the future. And today I want to bring us back to the present. We have this context of the letter in Titus, for example, God coming in all loving and kindness. We also have the words that were mentioned even in 1 Corinthians. Love is patient, love is kind. Great. So we know that kindness is an essential part of what the Christmas spirit is about. How many of you have seen Disney's Cinderella? I'd be shocked if people haven't seen it. So the theme of the movie is to have courage and be kind. Correct. And it was really hard probably for Cinderella to be kind, at least I would think so. I mean, here you have these really nasty stepsisters and the stepmother, and they're just really mean to her no matter how kind she is. And it's this encouragement of no matter what, it actually takes courage to be kind, especially when others are not always so kind to you. So that brings me to the story of Christmas. And we've heard this story over and over and over again. It's kind of in some ways more ordinary than we think, and yet it's extraordinary. We have this concept of Mary, who carried a baby for 9 months, pretty ordinary. She had it. Women had babies, they've been having them since the beginning of time. She arrives, we didn't read the first section of Luke today because we're shortening the lessons, but we go back to the passage where it says, in those days, Caesar Augustus was decreeing that a census be taken. And why they're doing that census is it was a way to tax the people. So we had to get an accounting of who they were. And so all these people are required to go back to their hometowns. So think of it kind of like a homecoming. And so they get there and they arrive in Bethlehem, and what happens? There is what? No vacancy at the end, correct? And some people might have to think about this a little bit in the concept of that time period. So we didn't have Holiday Inns, obviously, and we weren't able to make our reservations. And there really wasn't quite the inn per se. What it was a lot of times in that culture was people would have 3 stories to their house. The first would be the family living room area, a place where you eat, gather together with your family and community. The second would be the living quarters. And the third, which was always called the upper room, you probably recognize that again when the disciples were hiding in the upper room during Easter time. The upper room was meant to be the guest room. It was the place of hospitality. And so in a place where everyone is being forced to go back to their hometown, they have to seek room. And so it's the expectation that you even let strangers into your home, and you would invite them to be guests in your place. Now, how many of us are really great about inviting strangers into our home? Let's be honest. I can tell you I'm probably not. Actually, I come up with probably more excuses why I don't want to have people over. Well, my place is kind of a mess and I need to clean it. And so I can't say that I'm always the most hospitable to having people over to my place. But when I think about this story and just the idea that what does radical hospitality look like? And even when there's no room to do something as simple as say, well, I don't really have a room, but I do have a stable. At least it has a roof over it. That gives something, some sort of act of kindness to a place that was probably already filled to the brim with other guests. And then all of a sudden this woman, this ordinary woman, gives birth to a baby. Never mind that this baby was going to become the Son of God. When I think also, again, about radical hospitality and how we invite strangers, I want to go back to that meme. When we think about our holidays and our perfect Christmas, making sure we have beautiful poinsettias and the perfect placemats at the dinner table, I want to challenge you and ask you, who did you not invite to Christmas dinner? Who did you not invite? Did you think about anyone that might even be in your social circle, that might be alone, that didn't get asked anywhere? They had no family to go where to. That's part of that journey of hospitality. November and December, starting around Thanksgiving and Christmas, that is the biggest time of the year when charities get the bulk of their money, because we somehow miraculously remember to be kind. We want to help the homeless. There's usually a surplus of volunteers at homeless shelters to feed Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner. But where's everyone the rest of the year? Somehow, if we walk away from this story today, and we go back to our New Year's resolutions and start checking off all our boxes, we will run amiss about what that transformation of kindness is, because we did this story to remind us that it doesn't just happen at the holidays. This is something we have to have happen all year round, because we embody Christ within us. That is the story of the incarnation. When I came to St. John's, it was 2 months before the pandemic. So I was in this weird transitional phase, and I was trying to sell my condo in Florida so I could come back to the Bay Area. And of course, then as the virus came, I wasn't all of a sudden able to sell that condo quite so quickly. And what happened was, actually, I had to couch surf for 11 months, sleeping in people's houses, not my own. I had 2 friends who took me in, as well as 4 people from St. John's. So I got a chance to really get to know 4 parishioners from this church, because I got to live with them for a short period of time. That is radical hospitality. They didn't know who the people here at St. John's didn't really know me at the time, but they opened their homes and their hearts to me. I will never forget that act of kindness. So I ask you again with this simple Christmas message of a story about a baby born in a manger. How will this transform your heart? Even in the face when people are mean to you, to remind yourself how you can respond in kindness. Not simply come back at them with anger and frustration, as we all do, I do. But how can we open our hearts to again be this example of loving kindness? Amen.
Amen.